So, good evening everyone. It's absolutely fantastic to see so many of you here tonight, and thank you all for coming along. And thank you to our speakers for your wonderful speeches. And all of you have covered basically everything I'm about to say, so you can all go to sleep now. So, what happened in October 1954? Well, as I'm sure you all know, it was the 10th General Conference on Weights and Measures, which defined the Kelvin as the primary unit of temperature. But that's not why we're here. It was, of course, also the start of SUGCR.
Weights and measures.
Thank you, Josh. It's the reason we're all here today, and a testament to its impressive 70-year legacy. So first steps are often the hardest, and I think we can all relate to this on some level. Maybe nerves before a first quarter or peel, or ringing a new method. Or another example, organising the dinner for the first time. I'd just like to say thank you again to all of the secretaries. I know you understand how hard it is to organise a dinner. And as Caroline mentioned earlier, the first ever dinner in the Chinese restaurant was organised by Adrian Tumner, whom we sadly lost this year. In doing so, he set up the tradition that brings us all together annually. There have been quite a lot of first steps this year as well. Many firsts for methods, including on handbells. We also rang the first ever quarter of Worcester sauce bob doubles, something I'm very proud of. And the most recent quarter of SUGCR doubles. We revived the canal boat summer tours. It's the first time an ostrich egg has been brought to the dinner. Has anyone noticed it? It's over there. The first Guild handbell quarter in John Lewis. Or maybe there have also been some first steps, such as engaging and supporting a difficult transition like the closure of a bank account. Something I'm very grateful to you all for. Of course, I can't talk about first steps and not mention setting up a society. I think there is so much to be thankful to Derek Jackson and all the founding members, if nothing else for bringing us here today. But I think it's also important to recognise the work of all the committees over the years who have shaped the Guild in their own ways, and perhaps it is even more important to say thank you to all the people not on committee who have supported SUGCR over the years. We mentioned earlier in its infancy Reg Reed and the North Stone Ringers, without whom we wouldn't have had a place to practice. Of course, there was also Canon Felstead, our first president. But more recently, the City Rings, especially Colin Butler, Dan Graham and Colin Lovelock. Thank you very much for your help. And everyone who supports our practices and tours, Oliver, Dan Smith, Thomas, John, Martin, Christian and George. Thank you very much, all of you, for all your help and support over the year. And I have to say a very special thank you to Sam, who supports our handbell practices, as well as our tours and tower bell practices, and is just generally amazing. So thank you, Sam. Of course, I can't say thank you without mentioning the committee, who have done an exceptional job, especially for SUA, in what has been a supremely busy year. Hannah, Henry, Cassandra and Rosie, well done all of you, and thank you very much for all of your help. And thank you, Caroline, as well, for all your help throughout. So I've said a lot of thank yous this evening, but I definitely mean it. We wouldn't get half as far as we do without the support of the past members, associates and local ringers. So thank you all. There are also a few who haven't been able to make it this evening, but send their best wishes. And that was from Mary Cheesewright, Dave and Nicola Hammonds, who we mentioned earlier, and Ruth Jackson. So what have we actually been up to this year? Well, as you've heard, we had some great triumphs, reviving the canal trip for summer tour, where we cruised down the Severn to Worcester. Henry was a very patient instructor at the helm, and both he and George did a great job in keeping us from crashing, despite some people's best efforts. Hang on. We had a pancake evening on the boat, and Rosie's flipping skills were epic. Don't know if you've seen the photo that Oliver took. We also invented the Worcester sauce and cheese pancake. It had a 100% satisfaction rate, so everyone should go and try that on Tuesday. We can highly recommend it. and some great handbell quarters as well, with some firsts for people on a roof, in a toilet, and in a car. We also hosted SUA, where Hannah brought efficiency to the max and managed to optimise oven space to fit about 120 sausages in a single oven. We scored an impressive quarter, where 6 out of 10 had never rung a quarter on 10 before, and equally impressive, it was also 47.5% muffled. I'll leave that with you to figure out. We've run 3 peels this year, and well done, Leona, for this morning, scoring your first peel. And well done, Henry. I heard he ranked superbly at the Bitton Park peel, and it's a massive shame that it got interrupted like that. The other peels we have run was one for Derek's 90th birthday and one sadly to mark his death just a few weeks later. And a big thank you to Dan Graham for organising these and everyone who rang in it. Do go take a look at the peel board in memory of Derek, it's just here. When I had the pleasure of meeting Derek's widow Ruth, she told me Derek was incredibly grateful for the ringing for his birthday. He'd had a very enjoyable day and was able to see all of his family, children and grandchildren, and that was what made it extra special. There has also been some really impressive ringing this year, handbells especially. I have to mention Caitlin, who rang her first quarter peal after 2 hours' notice at midnight on the Hartley 12. Henry has done a fantastic job in conducting this year, going from no quarters, having conducted no quarters, to basically being our go-to conductor. Leona and Robert have also achieved some memorable firsts. Robert's first treble bob was yesterday. Well done, Robert. And Leona has run through all the pairs in handbells and several new methods in the last few weeks, as well as scoring a first peal today. An interesting one, there have been 7 firsts for quarters spanning 2 days. There was one for Josh outside the Hammerstall Inn. It was a first ever in the fictitious county of Worcestershire. And 6 people who achieved a quarter over 2 days on the Hartley 12 after perhaps drinking a bit too much in the pub. This brings me to the Founders' Cup. This is awarded to a current member for distinction in ringing. And this year I'm absolutely delighted to award it to Rosie, our fantastic social sec. Rosie, your energy and enthusiasm light up every practice. I remember your first quarter very well. It was covered minor, as we mentioned earlier. There was also a random missing person, which we had to deal with, and you'd only covered once or twice before it. Well, you smashed it, and now you're flying, and it's been a real pleasure to watch, so well done.
Yay.
Thank you, Pippa. I'd like to say thank you to all of our speakers this evening. Very entertaining. Last things on my list here. The date for the next dinner, I think, is 14th of February 2026.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. It's the Saturday before Shrove Tuesday, so as long as my friend Google got it right, then it will be 14th of February. As Hannah mentioned, ringing tomorrow morning is at St Michael's at 9:45. I'd like to thank Sam and John for giving me the wrong information about ringing tomorrow morning.
It was right at the time.
I do believe the handbells are here. Yes, good, I've got them right. Handbells are here, if anybody would like to ring, and our friend over here has very patiently been waiting to get the disco going. Any other dinner, I would be ringing the ting and saying, that is the end of the speeches, let's have... Oh, I've got to ring. Oh, hang on a minute.
You've got
You didn't ring us to start with.
I didn't ring it to start with, but, you know, most of the tables haven't taken part anyway, so let's not worry about it.
None of the tables have taken part.
So we all win.
The virtual sweepstake is over. I'd like you all, yes, everyone's won. I'd like you all to enjoy the rest of the evening, mingling with your friends, dancing, ringing handbells, not drinking too much, and so on. And thank you all for coming.